Hey friends and bookworms, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you my favorite books that I will not live without. These are the books that no matter where I live or no matter where I've lived in the world and no matter where I move to, I always own a copy of these books because they are my favorite and I never want to be in a position where I can't read them. And I reread them often. I quite often have read these books again and again because they are my favorites and they are my absolute comfort reads. So get cozy, get comfy, get a warm drink, and let's talk books. These are the 5 books that I'll never be without. Okay, so the first book that I will never ever live without is Riders by Jilly Cooper. Now, if you haven't had the privilege and pleasure of reading a book by the great Jilly Cooper, I adore her. She is a goddess. So basically, how would you describe Jilly Cooper's books? They don't take themselves seriously. They are funny, they are exciting. The Sunday Telegraph described this book as sex and horses, who could ask for more? It's fiction. There's a series of these, I think they're called the Ratcha Chronicles. This is number 2. I believe I have the first 3. I own the first 3, but this is my favorite. It's about the competitive horse industry. It's about the Olympics and show jumpers and money and prestige and horses and dashing men and and beautiful smart women, and it's fabulous. It's fabulous. If you love horses, you'll love it even more. But even if you don't know anything about horses, doesn't matter. I think you'd still enjoy this. It's definitely a holiday read. I would say this is an ideal holiday read. It's not hard to read. It's funny, but it's a page turner. You will fly through this. It's quite a thick book, but you'll fly through it. Everyone who I've loaned this to or given this to has just gone, that was so good. That is the best. So yeah, highly recommended. I will never be without Jilly Cooper Riders. Okay, book number 2. Well, actually, I have this book in 2 volumes, but is Anne of Green Gables. I grew up with Anne as a child. My best friend Emily and I were Anne and Diana, our whole childhoods. So we watched the Megan Follows, Jonathan Crombie mini-series of Anne of Green Gables over and over and over. I could recite those movies, no joke. So these are my classic comfort reads. The copies I own are 2 volumes of trilogies. So I believe it's Anne of Green Gables, Anne of Avonlea, Anne of Ingleside, Anne of Windy Willows, Anne's House of Dreams, and Anne of Ingleside. So I own 6, but it's 2 volumes of copies. And I just found these beautiful hardcover copies in a secondhand bookshop nearby. So I had to have them, and they're beautiful hardcover editions. But I will never ever be without Anne of Green Gables in my bookshelf, on my bookshelf, in my collection. Not ever. She's my favorite. She is the hero. She is the moment. Book number 2, Anne of Green Gables. Book number 2 on my 5 books I'll never be without. Book number 3 is Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. This book made me fall in love with Japan, fall in love with travel. I just love this. I ate this up this book. It's about women. It's about women living in a geisha house in just before World War One, so the late 1800s, I believe. And it's set in Kyoto in a tea house. And it's about two young girls from a poor fishing village in Japan who run away, they get sold to become geishas after their mother dies. So they go to Kyoto and then they get separated. So the youngest sister we follow the youngest sister trying to survive in a very regimented traditional household and trying to succeed in life and in becoming a geisha, because that's where the cards have been dealt for her, but also trying to find her older sister and be reunited with her older sister and work out what happened to her. Oh my gosh, the descriptions in this are just beautiful. Like, yeah, I don't have the words. A movie did get made about this, and it was okay. It cut out a lot of the story, as movies often do. So sometimes when you buy the book as well, it's the movie adaptation of the novel, and you get big chunks of the actual novel cut out. So this, even though it has the movie cover, is the full version of the book. And I highly recommend reading the full version, not the movie cut down version, because the full version is absolutely amazing. So yes, that's my third book in my 5 books that I'll never be without. I would read this again and again and again. I don't know even how many times I've read this. This is actually not the first copy that I've owned. I loaned my copy with the beautiful original cover to a friend, and it never came back. So this is the copy I now own, and I've read it many times, and I absolutely adore this book. I absolutely adore this book. Book number 4. Well, actually, it's a series. It's another series of books that I will never, ever, ever live without. I will always own these. These are my favorite childhood books. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. It's quite rare that I talk about them and someone goes, oh, I know those, because they weren't ever very mainstream. But I did get every book in the series, and it was quite hard to track each one down because they're often out of print. I think they were written in the 60s or 70s, so they're very, very hard to track down. So when you get your hands on a copy, they don't often match. I don't have all of the same publication of them. So I have a mismatched copy, but I do have all 12 books in the series, and I treasure these books so much because they really just shaped my childhood and my youth. And this is the Finmarie series by Patricia Leitch. So these books are, how to describe them? They're horse books. They're about a girl called Jinny who moves from the city to a isolated farm next to a loch in Scotland, and she lives in an old stone house, and she has to make her way to the village school, and they're very isolated where they live, but it's this beautiful, wild, just landscape of crofts and moors and the descriptions of the sea and the loch, and it's just magnificent. It really caught my imagination. And it also deals with spirituality in Scotland and Ireland as well. So there's a lot of exploration of connection to nature and tradition and the past. It's just, there's so much in these books, and they are beautifully written, beautiful books. They just really stir your imagination. I could read these again and again and again. If I could only read one series of books for the rest of my life, it would be these. This old mismatched set of 12. They are my favorites. I will never ever get rid of them. They are my favorite books in the whole world. So the series begins with Jinny moving to the old stone house in the isolated wild moors of Scotland with her family. She has a brother and a sister and a mum and dad, and she also has they have a boarder who, their dad was a probation officer in the city, and this is one of the youths that he helped. So he comes with them and boards with them too as part of the family. So there's a family of 6. So that's their situation. And one day in the nearby village, there's a circus, and the circus is incredibly cruel. It's incredibly cruel to the animals. It's old, it's broken down, it's this horrible old circus. And Jinny goes to see it, and one of the acts in the circus is a horse that's been billed as the killer horse, and she's a fiery chestnut Arabian mare who is whipped into ferocity by the ringmaster. And inevitably that horse escapes onto the moors, and Jinny makes it her mission to rescue this wild horse that's now roaming the moors alone, having escaped from the circus, and the circus has just abandoned her because they can't catch her. So, and her love and connection with this beautiful, neglected, distrustful wild horse. And they just, I can't even, just, if you can find a copy of any of these books, they are really hard to find, which is why I cherish my 12 mismatched, weird, wrecked copies so much, because it did take a while to track them all down, and they're from all different places, they're all different bookshops, all different sellers on eBay, and booksellers online and stuff like that. So I tracked each copy down separately. If you ever find a copy of Jinny at Finmarie, that's what the series is called. It's the Jinny series. So they all sort of look a bit different, but some of them are older, but oh my gosh, they are beautiful books. Please read them. And the last book that I will never, ever, ever live without is Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of this book. Quite often I recommend it to people and they have never heard of this book. Banana Yoshimoto is a Japanese writer. She's another reason that I fell in love with Japan. This book is just beautiful. It's just a beautiful book. You read it and you just put it down at the end and go, oh, that was so lovely. This book is about Mikage, and Mikage is a young girl who moves in with with some flatmates called Yuichi, and Yuichi's mother Eriko, and Eriko is a trans woman. So this book was written, gosh, in the 80s. It was written in the late 80s. So the way that this book treats trans rights and treats this trans woman is just unheard of at that time. But it's basically about Mikage and her going to culinary school in Tokyo and living with Yuichi and Eriko in the city. It's sort of a coming of age story, I would say. You put it down and you just feel happy. It's just, it's a happy making book, and it's a comfort read. It's the ultimate comfort read as well. So it fits that Memoirs of a Geisha and Kitchen are on my books that I'll always own list, my forever books list, because next week I'll be vlogging to you from Japan, hopefully. We're leaving on Tuesday. We fly out next Tuesday. So I don't know what my vlogging, my posting, uploading schedule will look like. It will really depend on how internet access is. I mean, internet access in Japan is great, but how I will be able to access Wi-Fi and that sort of thing. But I'm not really sure. Until I get there, I'm not sure what capabilities I'll have for vlogging, but I fully intend to take lots of footage. I'll try and make you some really, really comforting, cozy content from Japan so that you can see what we get up to while we're over there. I can't wait to explore. I've been there before. I've been to Japan about 14 years ago, I think it was, for mine and my husband's honeymoon, and we absolutely adored it. We love Japan. We'd live there in a heartbeat. So, and also I speak a little bit of Japanese. So, Nihongo o hanasu koto ga dekimasu. So I speak a little bit. But I'm not very confident, so hopefully I'll be able to use a little bit of Japanese and make myself understood while we're over there. We'll see. So anyway, that's my exciting news. Oh, before we go, show me what you're reading. Show me what you're reading. Hold it up. Oh man, I love that. Well, you keep reading that. I'll keep reading Love, Lies and Spies, which is what I'm reading at the moment. And I will see you from Japan. I will vlog from Japan. So my next video hopefully will be me doing this, but Japan in the background. This will be Japan. Let's hope so. Thanks for watching today, guys. Have a great day. Bye.